to plays and low budget players. And yeah, if you're spending, if you're buying sort of 2 or 3 packs a month, you low budget. And free to play as well, you're not buying packs. So yeah, what are your limitations? Well, there are a lot actually. You can have a lot of fun in Lords Mobile as a free to play. Don't get me wrong. I'm not crying too much, but at the same time, there are a lot of limitations. There's things that you are not really going to be able to do. Sorry, I'm just doing that because it's going to bug me otherwise. What are these limitations? Well, a ton. Okay, you are never going to be a top player as a free-to-play or a low-budget player. You probably already have accepted this. What other limitations have you got? Okay, there's a ton of things. There's events that you're never going to participate in. Forget about Baron. Forget about any of those wars. They're crazy. That's a great way to burn money. Forget about WoW. Unless you're in a guild that has got pay players. The reason being that you need a rally captain. So the rally captain is going to be somebody with really, really good gear. Not something like, oh, that's my familiar, sorry. Not something like, like me. Purple and gold. Hey, I've even actually got a legendary piece. Wow. That is not a rally captain's gear. I mean, I can destroy a smallish castle with that maybe, but it's not going to hold us in WoW. I don't have tier 5. I'm not going to say it's impossible to get tier 5 free to play, but I think it will take a very, very long time. And that brings me to the research limitations. There are a lot of research limitations here. It used to be a heck of a big achievement to get tier 4. Tier 4 was the highest troop that you could get, and you could get it free to play. Back in the day, it used to take 18 months. Now with Technolabs, it's much quicker. I'm sad about it because I did it when it was a big achievement, and now everybody's got the darn things. Tier 5, that tree is all going to require tomes to research. Familiar battles, yeah, that eats tomes as well. I'm busy with it now because I think I've got a better chance of opening more familiar slots than I do of ever getting tier 5. One of my accounts has basically got all the free-to-play research done. Except for one research. It's like 200 days, 230 days or something. And I'm just waiting for Technolabs for that. And that brings me to Technolabs. Technolabs is it's a strategy on IGG's part to get you to start spending money. Because at some point you're going to max all the stuff that you can do without tomes. And as soon as you get to where you need tomes are like chicken teeth. And that is a problem because it means that as time goes on, being free to play becomes more and more and more of a handicap, up until the point where you're actually going to get stonewalled. Yes, you will be, as a free to play, stonewalled by IGG to a point where you cannot develop anymore until you've got the tomes. And that is obviously going to tempt you to buy tomes. If you do buy tomes, go for, what's that pack called again? Massive discounts. It gives you tomes for the cheapest price. But I mean, I will sometimes buy tomes 2 months in a row before I can actually continue with some of my research. That was particularly true when my aim was to max my counters, which are now maxed. But I would not have maxed them without tomes. Tomes. Don't waste them. Where would you use tomes? I would very strongly suggest that your first tomes should definitely go to your counters. They are big researchers. It's a game changer, but you're going to need tomes for them. Another place that's really, really good for tomes, you're going to get a payoff reasonably fast, is familiar battles. Here, the tier 5 tree. I mean, this tree is horrible, and it's just tomes all the way. Tomes are like chicken teeth. You are going to get stonewalled as a free-to-play, and there's something radical changes in this game. Yeah, you can get 40 tomes or whatever in your cargo trades now and then. 40 tomes doesn't get you anywhere. So yeah, that's one of the big drawbacks. Your research is never going to be as good if you're low budget or free to play. Maxing it is just plain, I'm not going to say impossible, but it's going to be so time consuming that it's ridiculous. I don't know if I'm going to be playing this game long enough to actually get tier 5, for example. And I do buy a pack or 2 a month. It's not going to happen. And another place that's really, really going to stonewall you is your gear. I mean, yeah, my mix set here. If I had all of these pieces orange, I'd be, oh yeah, fabulous. And that's just a reminder as well that those darn embers that you need to make stuff legendary are extremely scarce. Do not use them except on your most important gear. And I would say that as far as they're concerned, your war gear is probably more important than your growth gear for actually making pieces legendary or whatever they call it. I mean, it's insane. Takes a lot of embers. I mean, I would love to get this thing up, but I mean, yeah, I need 3 gold embers for that. So that's going to take a while, isn't it? Yeah, it is. I mean, I've had this thing gold for over a year, so your gear is not going to be fabulous. Most free-to-plays, I have spent a bit on my gear. I've probably bought Material Madness over the years that I've played less than a dozen times. I got my stuff to blue, and then I realized, heck, this is going to be an expensive business. And it is. It's a very, very expensive business. And that's what we want to try and avoid if we're free to play. So, you've got these pieces, blue, purple. You can still trap quite effectively. But that brings us to the other limitation of being free to play, and that is troops. And I'm not talking tier 5 here, I'm just talking sheer numbers. You need to have a lot of troops to eat a rally. Depending on the rally, you need, in your tier 2, 3 to 6 million of each tier 2. And you can lose those things within minutes. It's happened to me twice. And I'm not happy about it, but oh well, here we go again. And I don't really have that much research speed need. I would actually say research when you're a small player. Research is the place for your speeds to go. But then again, I mean, that just depends on your goals. If you really want to just have fun and fight, I've got an account that I actually do that with. I use my speeds on training troops and whatnot. But you need a lot of troops. Now, you're going to drop shield. And you're going to go out there and you're going to go and fight something. You are immediately vulnerable because you're in fury for 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, a lot can happen. And you cannot shield. That is a bad place to be if you cannot take at least 1 rally and possibly more, depending on the kingdom that you're in. This current kingdom is a very quiet kingdom. At most, I can probably expect 1 rally. But unless I've got the tier 2s to eat that, and we're talking about 3 to 6 million of each tier 2, depending on who's attacking you, well, that's going to be a bad place to be. So, if you're going to fight when you're not in that position troops-wise, it's a lot of troops, it's a lot of speeds. To get to that level, and you've got to be keeping your shield all the time. It can get quite nasty. You lose everything. The first time it happened, it took me 8 months to recover. This time, last time that it happened, I used all my speeds. It's also not a good place to be. You don't want to be without speeds. If you're in a battle situation, you're in fury, you're getting rallied, you need speeds. You need them to heal your troops, if nothing else. So, yeah, there are limits. Another limitation is that, if you're going to fight a lot, you're going to lose troops. You lose troops, you need to replace troops. A lot of the spenny guys don't get me when I say that if you're free to play and you get zeroed, it is a major setback. It's huge. My old comp that last got wiped out when I changed my shield time. Don't change your shield time. It's a dumb idea. And I knew it, and I did it. And the result was predictable. I do my morning shields. Mornings are fairly routine. It's like brushing your teeth. Do your shields. But I decided I'm going to go to evening shields, and that was a bad idea. I fell asleep. Yeah, well, how many players haven't said I fell asleep? So I say morning shields. Mornings. Best time to shield. It's going to take me to recover my old comp, and I'm not even going to say what my old comp was. But yeah, I mean, a reasonable rally eating comp. It's going to take me a long time, even though I've used all my speeds. Looking at, I'd hazard about another 4 months before I'm fighting fit again. At another time, we were very active fighting in a kingdom with pay-to-plays as rally leads. And I mean, we did so well. But I mean, I just started to lose troops at a rate that was untenable. And I had to actually stop and say, well, hang on, I've got to recover. And it's not something that's going to happen overnight, because you can't just suddenly go in there and start gemming troops. Yeah, theoretically, I've got gems. It's not actually enough for what I want to do, so I'd rather just keep them as insurance so I can get barely functional. Okay, so what's the way around that? If you're tired of the treadmill, and I'm actually sort of trying this for the last time, where I'm going to recover my comp and try and be a little bit invincible while I'm online. But yeah, I would actually say being troops light is actually seriously good. If you can hide all your troops with shielded castles, if you're rallied, it look a little bit scary. Have a might level that looks like you might be a bad idea to solo. Be in anti. Then, you're probably going to attract rallies rather than solo attacks, even if you've got a relatively low troop comp. And that's when you just send all your troops to the shielded castles around you or anywhere. Go for shielded class castles. Please don't go for resource tiles. And never send camps. You're just totally going to get your butt kicked. Don't go there. Resource tiles, they're just nostrils to resource tiles, port in, force the attack by randoming out. And there you go. Resource tiles used to be safe before familiars brought in that little one. Now it's not so safe anymore. So yeah, your troops light, you can actually have quite a lot of fun. And if you do get zeroed, it's not this 6 months to 8 months to a year to recover your comp, because you're basically just relying on looking scary. You're not going to get soloed, probably, just because you look a little bit scary. And you can go out there and you can fight. And if you do get rallied, you just hide everything and have enough infirm for space for what you can't hide. You can actually hide a lot. And your infirm space covers the rest. So you're not in as bad of a position. To be honest, if I don't have luck with a big troop comp again, I'm going to go for a small troop comp. And I know it goes against everything that everyone's ever told you about this game. They all say troops, 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 never stop making troops, have millions and millions and millions of troops. Yeah, in theory, that is correct. But even if you get zeroed, if you have got, 2 million troops, that is quick to recover. That is so quick to recover. And you can have quite a lot of fun in between. If you're a little bittle castle and you don't even look scary, like this little one, she's a load of fun. She just shelters and ghost rallies. And then I think she's got 2 other marches that she has to hide, which can be done quite quickly. And if it isn't done, then it's mainly just infirm and maybe a bit of sanctuary. You recover so fast. And she has had a lot of fun. She's had a lot of fun as a little player. I actually been bonsaiing her because being little just is a lot more fun. As soon as you get bigger, you got to start, well, you don't have to, but you're invariably going to start thinking about eating rallies and doing things that pay players do and being mighty and, maybe even risking your neck at forts and things like that. You might get rallied while you're in fury and in a static position. So, yeah, the hit and run is fairly safe in that you can go hit, run. Yeah. There are a lot of limitations to being free to play. Of course, your level 5 familiars, your tier 5 familiars, probably not going to happen if you're free to play. There are exceptions. I've seen a player over 1 billion might with free-to-play background. But this guy is, you know, in one of the huge guilds, and he was with them from the start, and they tolerate him. I mean, like that, for instance, it's not really going to happen anytime soon, is it? And I've been playing this game almost from the beginning. It's a little bit depressing, but you can be quite nasty as a free-to-play, as long as you understand your limitations. And you don't try pushing too hard, because otherwise you're going to get big ouchie. I'm at the moment feeling incredibly discouraged because I've just been zeroed with a big comp, and I'm now rebuilding that big comp, which was a dumb thing to do, actually, but I'm not doing it. So now I'm halfway there. I might as well just carry on. You know, everybody says to you, make all these darn troops. It actually makes a heck of a lot. And I've heard big players saying the same thing. You know, don't even waste your money on troops, because all it takes is one little mistake, and there it all goes again. And it's just not a nice place to be at all. You don't want to be there. A lot of limitations to being free to play. Your research is going to reach a point where you're stonewalled at some point. I'm there on one of my accounts. It's a 500 million account, so it's not even all that big. You're going to reach a point where people are going to go, but you're so strong. Why aren't you sort of not shielding? Why aren't you, you know, doing well with your guild? Well, I'll do well if we've got a strong player to be our rally captain. And because we're a free-to-play guild, we don't actually attract a lot of those. We attract them when they're on holiday, because the big pay guilds have very intense requirements, and in general, they don't tolerate low spending. They don't tolerate you not having a strong enough comp. They expect you to fight so much that to keep up that amount of action, you actually have to spend a lot of money. So every now and then, one of them decides that their budget needs a break, and then they join us for a bit. Yeah, free to play. Look, guys, well, in my opinion, this is a social game. I'm playing it for the fun of it. Yeah, I do fight now and then. But am I ever going to be a huge power after 5 years in this game? Probably not. Why am I so small? Because they keep adding things on. 478 million. Wow, you know, back in K85 where I started, you were huge if you had that comp. Now you sort of kind of average, isn't that so? You sort of kind of average at that might. And of course, IGG keeps bringing in things that you absolutely have to spend money on if you want them to develop and grow, which makes the gap between free-to-plays and pay-to-plays much bigger again. You know, I just want to eat a couple of rallies from these guys, so I can go, yeah. Which is why I'm doing this crap stupid thing with the loads and loads of troops again for the third time. But yeah, they can all go in a flash. You can have fun in this game. As a free-to-play, I would suggest if you want to do that and you want to be fighty, you are going to probably keep your comp low. You're going to go with a low amount of troops because it just makes your recovery so much faster. You can go with looking a bit scary. Just to give you an example, this little one here is actually quite scary. You'll be surprised. If she's got anti-on in her war gear, people aren't that keen to hit her. They're not. And one of my tests of how crazy is a kingdom to pull this one in and leave her standing around with no shield and anti and war gear and to see how long it takes before somebody hits her. Sooner or later, there'll be somebody who doesn't actually care if she is a trap, and they're going to lose a lot of troops hitting her because they don't care, because they're spending so much money. But I wait and see how long that's going to take. She's actually a little bit scary already. So, she's had a lot of fun. She's actually reached the point now she's got a little bit more troops than I actually like. But yeah, there are a lot of limitations to being free to play. You're never, ever going to be a top player. Accept it, enjoy the social side of the game. Enjoy the endless collecting of free stuff, because obviously you're going to take as much free stuff as you possibly can. Good luck with opening those darn monster chests, because you can open over 1,000 of each monster chest, and you're still not actually going to have exciting gear. The more new things IGG brings in, the wider the gap becomes, and the more difficult it becomes to actually be anything like a power as a free-to-play. You are going to get stonewalled. It wasn't like that before. In the past, there was a time when tomes were unheard of. They were not a thing that existed. And at that time, yes, you could, as a free-to-play, have ambition to, at some point, at least get your research very high. Now there's whole trees that you need tomes for. And tomes are a pay item. Be wise how you use your stuff, your materials, your tomes. Take it easy. Enjoy your guild. Have fun with your friends. And don't worry too much about being super mighty, because it ain't going to happen. You got any of these ambitions, then free to play or low budget is not for you in this game, and that's the truth.